Angela, have you started the Zoom recording? Can you please start that?
Yes, Dipesh. Um,
Okay,
Dipeshla,
let me,
how's my?
yeah,
Okay.
let me do it. Let me do it. I think there's an echo because of
Yeah.
the mics on. I'll
Mm-hmm.
do that. Okay. Hello, welcome everyone. Tashidale. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Um, Welcome to this second session of Inspiring Conversation Series 2. Um so basically, I think we started yesterday, so I'm not going to take too much of time. And we spent yesterday on introductions. So Rebicula is our anchor for this series, and Gishla and Rebicula both are in the conference hall. So Rebicula,
Uh,
over to you,
good
Rebicula.
morning. Thank you, Diveshla. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody who's joining online. Although we started the session yesterday, let me just give a little bit of a background context if anybody has joined today for the first time, that as a part of the celebration of the Holiness 90th birthday, which is commemorated as the Year of Compassion, Tibet House launched the Inspiring Conversation series to help more and more people to connect with the Nalanda tradition and through offering questions and guidance to navigate everyday life challenges. So I am here in conversation with Geshe Dorji Damlula, the most amazing teacher. And I would like to take a moment to introduce Geshe-la, although he needs no introduction. But for those of you who are new out here, Geshe-la is the Tibet House director, and he has a Geshe Larampa degree from Drupal Losang Monastery. Um, Geshe degree is like a doctoral degree and in Buddhist philosophy. And Geshe is a prefix like how we use in doctorate. And he has contributed to several books and academic papers.
Rebicula, hang on. You got muted. 1 second. Somebody's got muted you. 1 second. Choyangla, or anybody? This, yeah. Go ahead, Rebicula.
Thank you. So I was just saying that Geshe-la has contributed to several books and academic papers, which includes books like Beyond Religion, The Art of Happiness series. He's also worked with renowned psychologists like Professor Paul Ekman on His Holiness's book, Emotional Awareness. Geshe-la teaches Buddhist philosophy extensively in India and internationally. So thank you, Geshe-la, for joining us again. And I will pick it up from yesterday where we left. And today, I would like to start with a very basic question because we also have a lot of people who are joining for the first time. So, Geshe-la, there are many people who are interested in meditation. They're very curious about meditation, but there is so many information and it's confusing. There are also various teachings on meditation. So, for somebody who is starting for the first time, what would you explain that meditation is, and what would you offer as a guidance for them?
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you, Tinshigala, and the whole Tinshudala here. And we have Tinsi Namdula and Tinsi Ravana is here with Tinshudala as IT staff. Yes, the meditation is something which has become like a fashion in the world today. And there are many places which offer meditation trainings and teachings, practices, retreats, and so forth. So, what I would suggest is that the keeping aside the how the individuals should have a sense of being street smart. That's very important to make sure that you are in the right place. Or sometimes this can be a little manipulative and can end up into a lot of problems. We should be very careful. Anybody who wants to be involved with this meditation, particularly with centers, we should be very careful to make sure that you're in the right place. So I don't want to go too much into that part. That part doesn't require. That part is more into more like in the mundane, worldly sense, how you should get at the right place, not with the wrong people and the wrong places. This is very important. So now the next point is that once you're there, and then what is meditation? Meditation, ideally speaking, meditation, it should be for two purposes. In a very secular context, it can be seen to build your qualities with 2 points. One is that for any work that you involve yourself with, any work, for example, like say in the mundane corporate world, like say the CEOs, they have nothing to do with religion. It's purely the mundane corporate world. For them, they need a tremendous focus, and their mind goes around thinking a lot how to manage the company, how to progress the company, competition, all these things are there. So they need to, when the mind moves so fast, so much energy is consumed. And because of this, the quality is compromised. So we should make sure that the mind is focused and the mind listens to you. So that is the main point. Where the mind listens to you, your work becomes very effective. Whatever work that you're doing, for example, like the corporate world or in teaching job, or say the painter or singing, even a footballer or cooking, whatever you're doing, or being a part of the policymaker. So your policy can decide the fate of millions in your country. So you should have a proper the thinking and so in other words, the mind should have two qualities. In whatever discipline they're involved with, one is that the mind to be very, very focused, that you are not distracted. When distracted, the quality is compromised. Once the quality of your thinking is compromised, whatever you're doing is compromised. So therefore, policymakers or even in the corporate world, you are making plans, 5-year plans, 10-year plans, and so forth. We see that you compromise with the work that you're doing. Then number 2 is that the mind, not only it should be focused, it should have an incredible sense of the proactivity. One should be very stable. The stability is one. Number 2 is the proactivity. That is another area where we really need to work. For example, like say if there are some emergency on the departments or in the hospitals, let's say there's emergency department there. And in many places, there are emergency cases where people should proactively act so wisely that just losing this a few minutes can lose life. So one should have tremendous sense of proactivity. In other words, one is to build your stability to counteract the we call it more like the distraction, or the reactivity must be stopped. Reactivity, if you don't stop the reactivity, then the mind acts in its own ways, not according to what is required. So the reactivity must be stopped and the proactivity must be encouraged. So the job of the meditation should be to stop the reactivity so that your mind will be very focused and increase the proactivity so that the quality of your work. So you can see things far away in time and space. You can act so promptly. So for that, we require the proactivity. So these two things, if whatever meditation that you're doing, going to centers or the teachers, whatever, and then if this has benefit in these two areas, you are in the right place. Whereas you're in the center, there's a competition here, and then the anxiety level increases, your stability diminishes, and the proactivity is discouraged. This is where you are in the wrong hands or wrong place. So therefore, what do you do in a secular context? People who are more as beginners, what we suggest is that just focus on the breath, which is very secular meditation. Focus on breath. Make sure that sitting wise, sit very comfortable, upright, body upright, with the body, how the body posture and your mind. These two are very closely connected. And mind should be very fresh and stable, and be proactive. For that matter, the mind should be extremely dexterous and agile. Your body posture makes a huge difference. Your breathing makes a huge difference. So with this body posture, eyes not closed, eyes just half open, put say 45 degrees cast down, and then just ignore. And then your mental consciousness should be used to count the breath. Just count the breath. Breath in, breath out, cycle 1. Breath in, breath out, cycle 2. This is what we should be doing. And same with this, then sound. So with this, just count the breath, and this is what we should be doing. Count the breath. Count the breath. Don't let your mind distracted, and make sure that they counted the breath properly. And by doing so, if you see that your mind is distracted, then try to start from 0. Again, start from 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. This is what we should be doing. And then meanwhile, use the two remedies. One is introspection, and the other one is the mindfulness. For the introspection, we require keeping an eye on the mind, what the mind is doing. Is it really meditating, counting the breath, or is getting distracted, or it feels sleepy? If you see that any of these two problems are there, then we need to make sure that you apply the remedies. That is the mindfulness. Mindfulness should be used to bring the mind back to the intended object of the meditation. So this is how we can do it for like 21 cycles of the breath, and the 21 cycles will take about like 1.5 minutes. And then, even though the meditation is so good, don't try to make it too long, because then you're too excited. Instead, keep it just 21 cycles. Even though you just love it, you want to continue this, and 21 cycles is too short. But stop it there and give a short break, like 10 seconds or 15 seconds or 20 seconds if need be. And then do the second round, where when the great teachers, past teachers, they advise so where you leave at the point, there's so much joy, then this will make you to find joy to start the next session. So this is how we sustain the practice. Otherwise, if you overexert, think that I really enjoy it, you overexert, you are getting tired. When you feel tired, then next time you don't want to continue. Then the tendency for you to stop the meditation will happen. So this is what we should be doing.
Thank you, Geshe-la, for clarifying how to do meditation correctly. And also the fact that you emphasize to, not to overstrain and try and overdo it when we do the first time, to stop it, when you still find joy. Geshe-la, revisiting the series and the fact that this talk series is mostly on the highs and lows of life, and there is anger, like involved when we always talk about the highs and lows of life, and I wanted to touch a little bit on that. So when somebody feels like a loved one or somebody near to you have wronged you or done something which really affects you, and either the person has moved on or they have passed away, or there are people in authority that you cannot do anything about it, and it causes like agitation and anger. I mean, the feeling is so strong. I was just remembering a line from the Holiness's book, Healing Anger, where he says that anger is like a charcoal that you hold in your hand, waiting for the day to throw it to the other person while you burn in the process. Merely saying these lines, I feel a shift in the mind, like it's so powerful. So, Geshe-la, how to deal with this kind of a simmering anger?
Okay, so anger is another. So even my job is to just make sure that everything's working, including IT, not so professional. So this is where I should control my anger.
It's an example of anger in the class.
Exactly, yeah. So you know how things are so unprofessionally done, including the senior one. He could not notice all these things. Okay, I'm just joking. Anyway, these are great teachers of the control, managing the anger. So these young staff, they're very pure at heart. They're very pure at heart, and at the same time, they give me a lot of headaches. Yeah, and then I learned how to manage my anger from them. Okay, good. So so basically, what His Holiness is that true and embodiment of the expert on managing anger. It's amazing. I say it's not that His Holiness is embodiment of Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha of compassion, so forth. No, I'm talking on a very secular context. They say reading His Holiness's works and being very close to His Holiness, we can see that here is somebody who truly embodies what is the patience. And if you can see broader the scenario of the world, they say, so while the world sees His Holiness as embodiment of compassion, and it's a reality, and yet they say the opposition, who made His Holiness to escape to India, the CCP. So they're demonizing His Holiness, and they so look at how His Holiness deals with all these matters on an international level, on the national level, on the domestic level, on the individual level. That's just amazing. So oftentimes we see that if somebody is really carry the gravity of it, the complexities, complex situations of His Holiness, people cannot really bear it. It's so difficult to bear. Yet His Holiness tackles them so skillfully, compassionately, and things happen. So this is something very inspiring. So having said this, how to manage these situations where you cannot deal with somebody who's a big person who is deciding on you, and yet you cannot even meet with that person or in the family, very complex situations. So where you don't have any authority, power to change the situation, and how to contain or how to stay away from anger. The first thing that we need to remember first thing that we need to remember is that anger is not a sign of the strength. It's a sign of weakness. This is what we have to know. As His Holiness pointed out, where there's anger, you're holding the burning coal, and you're holding it and trying to throw it, and while holding it, you get a feeling so like you are very strong. When you are angry, you get a false energy. You dare to say anything. You dare to do anything. You dare to break things which are otherwise very expensive, which you treasure, which you value. You just dare to even break that, and you dare to say the worst of the things to your somebody who loves you so much. So, and this is the anger. So anger is a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of strength. So this first thing that we need to remember. And then with this anger, the anger is something that we have to manage. In fact, I said that Tibet House is an incredibly great place for me to practice patience, to subdue my anger. Look at these young staff there. The good thing is that the situation that I meet with in Tibet House is not to the extreme side. It's not to the extreme side, and for the reason that the extreme side can be like where the things are very unprofessional, and the people can really be nasty. This can be very extreme. So here, people are so pure. The staff, they're so pure. The only thing is that the professionalism is a little lacking. They are new, very inexperienced. This is the situation. So having said this, so we have to acknowledge that the anger is the sign of weakness. So where there's anger, so even the scientists, they have explained that when there's anger, then the immunity goes down. This is reality. So with this mind, it's so important for us to make sure that say we don't give in, but particularly I would say, the situation where, say for example, as somebody who is really creating throwing the whole world into turmoil, like the leaders. So there we cannot do as much. And then in your family, for example, say where is your children, your parents, and so forth, your siblings. This is another complicated matter where you cannot do much, but the first thing that we need to acknowledge, first step, is that this is not a healthy emotion. It really destroys your mind. So meanwhile, then there are various other steps. One step is how that you are protected. You're not affected by the situation. And then it cannot be perfect. Just try to make sure that this is done to the maximum you can. Then following that, next would be like, say, with the situations, and so these are the talk is just for like 1.5 hours. And don't think that 1.5 hour talk can just change everything. It's not what we can expect. The reality is that the test is when we meet with situations. For example, you're at home, you're in the workplace, you continue to meet with your family members, you continue to meet with your colleagues at the workplace, and there you try to practice. You are not a perfect person. You practice compassion, first acknowledging that the anger is a sign of the weakness. And then this is how we have to keep growing. And as you acknowledge the mistakes and how to fix this, think about it. And as Rinpoche rightly pointed out, His Holiness's book, reading His Holiness's book, Healing Anger, let's just see if there are tips you can get from the rich, extremely beautiful books as to how to manage the anger with a very specific situation. So when you see that, then you try to apply it. Even applying once you get the tip. But if in the process application, you may not succeed completely. But don't worry, even 10% improvement, this is a great success. So that's how we can go about doing it. Yes.
Thank you, Kishla. That makes us hopeful that in the course of long run, we will be able to manage anger, and it's not a healthy emotion. Kishla, related to that, I wanted to ask a question and reflect on compassionate listening. Now, when people have mental health or emotional challenges, they reach out to a friend, acquaintances to, ask for support. And sometimes, they go on and on about their problems. And most of us are neither advanced spiritual practitioners, nor are we therapists. So after a point, it feels like almost somebody is dumping their, emotions on us. And when we try to explain them, why don't you seek help to a therapist or do a systematic study of a Buddhist philosophy, which would be helpful, then they're very resistant. And it becomes very challenging to deal with such people to the extent that it reaches the point that you avoid them. You're terrified. Gisela, I don't know. Can you just help us understand how can we, practice compassionate listening, but not get burned out in the process?
This is, again, another very seriously thought about matter. These things do happen. And then out of such situation, when you're there, you feel burnout and you are helpless. And particularly when the other person who requires help is not ready to listen to what you have to offer. So this is a big problem. So in such situation, one thing is that try to identify yourself, your strength, your weakness, and how much you can do. Make sure that you're protected. This is very important. So when you meet with the other person, see what is the degree of the problem. Listen to the person and you say that, okay, I can listen to another person for like 10 minutes. And 10 minutes, and then you see say your mental state, you feel disturbed or you feel agitated. So when you reach that level, then don't push yourself to keep listening. Instead, you would say that okay, I understand with what you're sharing. This is not easy. I fully understand it, and also when sharing with the other person that you might have to seek the help of a psychiatrist or psychologist or psychotherapist or counselor and so forth. Even that may not work for many people because the moment you, with the best of intention, you suggest this, the other person may feel even more offended and may not be ready to listen to you anymore and may not be interested to go to any of these things. So for that, what do we do? Is that if possible from your side, see what is your level of, what is that? Okay, let's say in simple language, what's the level of your, level of the tolerance? And if it hits that point, then no point in keeping listening. If you keep listening it, then you may say something which is totally unhealthy to the other person. So the best thing is when you are about to reach that level, then you just stop there, stop in a nice way, skillful way, redirect the conversation, or in other words, they change the topic to something else. And so this is what we can do. Then how to actually help the other person. So it's not just to protect yourself, and then in what way we can help. This next question. So to help the other person is that is that say, what is the level of the other person's receptivity? If the other person is not really receptive, and your intelligence, your level of intelligence, your level of experience also make a difference. Because if you're not experienced, if you're not so intelligent, other person can be very intelligent. Very intelligent people, to give them the counseling, it can be very complicated. If you're not so intelligent, the person can see your level of intelligence lower than him or her. In which case, the person will then become even more confident to behave in a nasty way. So therefore, if you sense that he or she is very intelligent, what a person talks is very intelligible, then you don't try to tackle yourself. You try to just divert the topic and suggest some other names. But the people who are to deal with these situations, number one, they should be, of course, very intelligent, very experienced, and compassionate. Because the compassion has this power to tame the other person. Intelligence has the power to tame the other person. And experience has the power to tame the other person. So therefore, that's very important. So sometimes you try to help other person it may invigorate the situation. Say, trying to see how clean is water. You stir it, you are actually letting the dirt rise. So therefore, this is not a healthy thing. And one way by which to help others, usually, if you have some degree of experience, and in fact, we're all ordinary beings. Because we're all ordinary beings, we have some degree of ego. We have some degree of self-respect or ego. And when somebody teaches you, the person may not be ready to listen to you. Instead, one of the best things by which the other person can be helped, I would say that this will work minimum 80%. For example, like when you are to give the counseling to other person, for example, somebody makes a mistake. You say that, and the other person may start to become panicky over having mistake. You say, okay, I made the same mistake many times. You just acknowledge that I made the same mistake so many times. I'm much older than you. Still, I make all these mistakes. Other person will feel very calm. And who will acknowledge this mistake? Say that I made the same mistake before. Somebody who loves you. Somebody who will not love you, who doesn't love you, will put on the facade that he or she is perfect. Will not disclose, your mistakes. So you would feel the other person's affection. The moment the other person, no, don't worry, I made this mistake a lot of time when I was younger, like your age. So the person will then they feel your affection. The moment person feels affection, then the receptivity opens up. Then, and you can say that, okay, when that situation happen, I did like this. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I did like this. And don't say you do it. The moment you say you do it, it's very commanding. Because I did like this, many times it works, but sometimes it doesn't work. In a way, you are saying to the other person and do it like this. So these are very skillful ways by which to give directions to the other person or give counsel to the other person. In other words, in short, experience, knowledge, and compassion. These three things are extremely important to give counseling to somebody else. And minimum, the thing is that you should be more experienced than the other person. You should be more knowledgeable than the other person. And sometimes knowledge by the other person may be better. The person may be, but experience-wise, and then compassion must be there. Compassion must be there. And where the other person's good qualities, never exaggerate the qualities. If the person has good qualities, acknowledge their good quality. But you're the best person. I've never seen such a good person as like you. You're amazing. You're the most intelligent person. Don't exaggerate. You said, you look so smart. I'm very impressed. This much. Don't exaggerate. You are like Albert Einstein. Don't exaggerate that. So the exaggeration can create a lot of problems in some people. For some people, they don't realize who they are. So if you say that you're extremely, I've never seen such intelligent person as you are, then the person thinks that I'm really intelligent. And then go to the competitive exams, they don't get there. Then they're stressed out. And they expect that they will get the UPSC exam in India, UPSC exam. And they think that I can succeed because somebody exaggerated it. So this is where you are giving a false hope and you are not helping, you are harming the other person. Never ever exaggerate other person's qualities. If a good quality person has, acknowledge it. Don't try to hit it under the doormat. You have to acknowledge it. Acknowledge it and inspire the person to be humble and to acknowledge your qualities and to see how to keep growing with this quality. So these are things where you can help that. Yeah.
So I guess next time we feel burned out, we focus on intelligence, knowledge, and experience. Krishna, we have a lot of young adults online and also in the room, and I wanted to ask a question on behalf of them. The first part of the question is addressed to them, and the second part, maybe not very young adults. So there is a lot of peer pressure, Keshla, like, pressure to perform well academically, pressure to perform well in your career, pressure even to live the lifestyle that is displayed in social media, which is such a challenge. I remember a line I read somewhere that, may you be happy someday like you pretended to be in social media. So that's a lot of a pressure. And even in the spiritual community, there is, no stopping to this pressure. There are conversations like, which teachings have you attended? There are name droppings of, I attended that teacher. Which certificates have you completed? Although retreats are amazing and it helps to transform the mind, but it's not something to boast about or talk. So where does this pressure end? And it's how to navigate this pressure externally while we maintain peace internally.
Okay, so in fact, all these questions are extremely important, so relevant. I'm quite impressed how you gathered all these questions. This is again another very, very practical issue that people confront with, and this is reality. So for this, I would say that two things to keep in mind. The first, I would say first, is that what is today and what is after 10 years. So what is today? People are so engrossed with what is today that they never, the thought of what will happen after 10 years, it never occurred to them. So therefore, which means that the whole world is today. Today means people are very competitive. So you're with them, competing, wasting all your time, energy, resources. You become stressed out and then burnout, and then you unnecessary agitation, irritation, because then you don't get anywhere because what is today is the whole world in your in your thoughts. But the reality is no, today is just maximum 1 year, 2 years. And the future is long, future is waiting ahead of you. And you're forgetting that. You're engrossed with this. So just think of yourself after 10 years. After 10 years, all these people who are competing with you, who are a part of this competition, the game, I would say not even 1% of these people will be with you at that point. Even if you pray, please, please don't go away from me, they will go away, they'll be separated. Inevitable separation happens. So think of the long term. So from this, you will see what is today is small. It should not really affect you. And your mind will stop to be affected. And then say if you're in an environment where government service exam for the government service, this is not the whole world. There are so many other beautiful things to do. So many other beautiful things. For example, say somebody who would be a genius in music is in the environment of physics. He or she may see that I'm such a dull person. I'm not good at anything. Because for him or her, the physics is the world. Because this is everywhere. People, you're in the physics department. But your strength is different. You have not discovered your strength. Your strength may be something which even the physicists will admire you. Albert Einstein will admire you. Albert Einstein, he loves music. He would admire you. For example, if you are from a psychology background, if you're very strong in psychology, Albert Einstein, he has to surrender to you because his son, while Albert Einstein himself was a physicist, a genius, but his son, the first son, he was not interested in physics. He was interested in psychology. So the Albert Einstein had to send a letter to Sigmund Freud. Please take care of my son. He wants to hear, he's interested in you. He's not interested in me. So look, Sigmund Freud and Albert Einstein, just to get this status. Of course, Albert Einstein is bowled over, reputed, respected. But Albert Einstein, he's not Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud has his own strength. So therefore, he has to surrender to that. So what I'm saying is everybody has your own strength. Your own strength, you have to identify your strength. And think of the long term. What after 10 years? One after 10 years, where will I see myself? This is something that we need to think of, one thing. Then the next thing, this is about today and the long term. After 5 years, after 10 years, after 20 years. Think of this, whatever is happening today will not affect you. Not affect you to make you stress. This is so important, number one. Number two is that, believe it or not, everyone has a hidden treasure. It's not a fairy tale. This is reality. Everybody has a hidden treasure. So that this hidden treasure, everybody's hidden treasure, and in some cases, you have to dig more. Some cases, it's on the surface. You just dig it, it comes out. Some is deeper down, so you have to dig it more. You have to put more effort. But in short, everybody has this hidden treasure. Everyone, believe it or not, everyone has hidden treasure. So with this mind, you have to identify your strength and you have to know that you too have the potential. But it doesn't mean that in this very life, in this short life, like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, you'll become a genius like Albert Einstein. Don't expect that. For example, say, I learn English. Now I'm already 58. I can't expect, you have a hidden treasure and say your English can grow to become like Shakespeare in English. No, don't expect that. It is foolish on my part. We should not step it. So I should acknowledge, but English is not everything. So there are other areas. Whatever knowledge that you have in English, use that. And there are other areas where you may be stronger at. So cultivate, put your effort in these areas. So on all, first thing is think of the long term, short term. Today is just very small in comparison with the long future. Number two is to acknowledge that we all have your own strengths. Your strength may not be respected in this particular area. It may be respected in some other area. You have to identify where your strength is respected. Try to go in that direction. Number two. Number three, that this strength, the seed of the best of the mangoes, is a seed, it's not a mango. So which means that we have the strength, we have the potential. Doesn't mean that you are that. You have the potential. So keep in mind that this is the seed of the mango. It's the most delicious, most expensive mango, but it's a seed. It's not a mango yet. So your job is to germinate. Let this, give yourself time. Give yourself, respect yourself by giving time to make this potential be germinated. For that matter, how to germinate? How to germinate it? Make sure that you meet with the correct information, complete information, and the systematic information. So with this in mind, for this, we need to maintain a very open mind. Don't get fixated. For example, you come to Tibet House. I don't know, I want to learn Tibetan music. You come to Tibet House. Tibet music is, the right place. And then somebody here said, the director of Tibet House, yeah, you're in the right place. And actually fooling that person. This is not for music. So you should be able to connect the person to Tibetan music, the real place where the Tibetan music is being practiced, trained. You have to connect them. And you also have the responsibility to make sure that where's the correct place. You have to explore. For that, maintain a positive and open mind. So you have to see yourself as a seed, which means that you have to keep growing. Keep growing. Today is not everything. Today you are in the form of seed. I'm age 58. Still don't think that I'm just full. If you think that I'm full, you are putting dead end to your own growth. So tomorrow, and when you reach tomorrow in retrospect, you will see today, oh, it was my past. Then tomorrow becomes today. So you think that today is everything, then tomorrow will inevitably come. And today is the past, and you will regret. I didn't put effort to improve myself. So you have not grown. So you have to keep in mind that you are a seed. In other words, everyone in the different traditions say that always think of yourself as a student. This is so important for you to keep growing. So with this in mind, the growth is so important. Growth is important, and the growth. So growth is for what? For your happiness. Don't forget it. Sometimes we're too engrossed with the means to grow and then never happy. So our happiness is the priority. Make sure that you are happy. How to make sure that you're happy? Growth, growing towards happiness and growing with happiness. So with happiness is with compassion. But keep in mind, yesterday we discussed about the skillful compassion. So keep growing with skillful compassion. You're very happy, and you'll go to a very professional happiness, which is the ultimate happiness. So this is how we need to go forward.
Yeah, I hope it was insightful for everybody, young adults as well as the parents, that maybe the UPSC exam or whatever you're chasing might not be everything, and be a lifelong person, a lifelong student in learning. And it's a seed, and we keep growing. Thank you so much. That was very insightful. Kishla, yesterday we touched a bit on the family conflicts. Want to revisit that topic again, because in the highs and lows of life, the near and dear ones, which you corrected, is not just near and near. Wanted to discuss on the aspect of divorce, which is a very high rate across the globe now. So, I mean, these are people who have loved each other at one point of time and have painful separations, criminal cases filed against each other, children caught in the middle of this fire.
Sorry. Okay, there are quite a signal here.
It's auspicious, Kishla, I guess, because it's very auspicious.
Okay. Okay, so let us continue, and quite obstacle here. So let's not worry. Okay.
Lamula.
Sorry. So
Sorry. Lamula, I think you're in the English channel, Lamula.
Dipeshla, should I repeat the question? I think I was muted.
I think, I think you got interrupted. So it would be better if you can just repeat the question. I think you were talking about the divorce and painful separations.
So, sure. So I was talking about divorce, which has become like a very, the divorce rates are really high. And I was just talking about people have such painful separations. Sometimes these are people who loved each other And now I've become so vindictive that you can drag yourself into such fabricated criminal cases. And there are children caught in this, battle. And it's very, very painful. And sometimes children grow up with emotional burdens which are not their own. I mean, it was really painful. I met a very young adult very recently where she had to become the parents because both the parents were not speaking with each other. So the roles had shifted. Yeah. So Gishla, what kind of advice would you have for people, for both the parties? Because it's also difficult for them to live under such a conflict just for the sake of children and also for the children who are involved in this, conflicts.
Okay, thank you. Yes, number one, the world is imperfect. And many of these things are quite a serious matter and which require a lot of premeditation before somebody jumps into the relationships and so forth. This is something extremely, extremely important. This is not, like, oh, we'll have the drink together, or we'll have, let's go to a zoo. No, it's not like that. This is a very serious matter. So therefore, the whole education system is designed to solve our major crisis and preparing a child for that age. So teaching something from the beginning, from the child, kindergarten, and then gradually make the child grow more and more and reach that level. This is the purpose of the education, the modern education. Likewise, spirituality, for that matter. So because of this is so important, and what has already happened now, with the divorce case, litigation case, and so forth. So when somebody said the peak of the problem, then so the first thing is that these people should be ready to listen to the counselors. And if they're not ready, nobody can do anything. So the English saying goes that one person can take the horse to the river, but 20 people cannot make it drink. This is reality. When the person is not receptive, and again, the next thing is how to make it receptive. This next question, how to make the people receptive. Again, there's no shortcut solution that, okay, we do something and the person will listen to us. No. Unless the dictators with the gun and so forth, that is totally extreme. Otherwise, the best thing is from the childhood. The parents have a huge responsibility, and of course, as a nation, as a united nation, the nations and the nation, the community, the family, everybody has a huge responsibility to make sure that the children they grow healthy in a healthy way. So to teach them, to prepare them to face that situation, it's a huge responsibility. So with this in mind, they say that the people keep in mind that, say, the people we are actually look for something. All movement, in my hand movements, and any movement which involves the intention, mental intention, is always seeking something. And somebody like Buddhas, who have already attained everything, they're still moving. They're moving to seek to help us. But we are moving not to help the whole world the way the Buddha is doing, but we are moving for our own well-being. So because of that, all our movements are in this direction. So which means that these movements for my own interest is all directed by the selfishness and the ignorance. These two are there. And the aspiration is there. Aspiration per se, there's nothing wrong in it. when the aspiration is directed by the selfishness, and then this aspiration will turn to disregard others. When it's driven by the ignorance, it will damage your own goals. Selfishness will disregard others, and the ignorance will damage your own well-being. So both well-beings are damaged. The aspiration persists so good. So if somebody can remove this ignorance and the selfishness, and the aspiration is so pure, that aspiration will attain your goal, which otherwise damaged by the ignorance, and that aspiration will attain the other's goal, not be sullied by the self-centered attitude. In other words, what I'm saying, all these divorce, these things are all because of either ignorance or the selfishness, or both. Oftentimes both. So ignorance, why? You only see today, you don't see what is after 5 years. What is after in some cases, even after 1 month, after 1 week, divorce happens. So you don't see what is after 1 week, after 1 month, after 5 years, after 10 years, after 20 years. You don't see that. This is ignorance. So because of which, then you see the reality, raw reality, covered under the nice, the flowers. And behind that, there's a fire there. Behind that, there's a knife there. The razor with the nectar. So you see the nectar is so delicious. You go to enjoy it, and then it'll cut you. So you don't see that. That is ignorance. So therefore, right from the beginning, I would say the parents, the community, education system, they have a huge responsibility to tell that there is the blade, there's the nectar there, and the nectar, honey there, behind that there's a blade. Blade degrees of some blades are like 80% sharp. Some are 20% sharp. So 20% sharp, you'll get 80% nectar and 20% cut. Some is 80%, 20% nectar and 80% cut. Pain is 80%. Sometimes pain is 90%. Sometimes 100% pain. The nectar is not real nectar. It's the painting nectar. It's painted. It's not real nectar also. So therefore, this is the reality. So the point is that all these to be properly given education to since the childhood. So then these people, when they grow to the age like 16, 17, 20, 25, 30, then they will make a proper decision. It's not just carried away by the infatuation, carried away by the flower on the surface, but knowing that was the reason behind. Knowing the reason behind, okay, but but I don't have that capacity to be too independent, so I have to depend on somebody else. But somebody else also is not independent. If independent, why should you come with you? Other ones are also dependent. You're also dependent. Two dependent people means that you have limitations. Limitation means you have to fulfill that. That is the razor part. So these are, we have to, with full acknowledgement, and then the first one, and then the second one. First divorce, and then the second one. First one, you have gone into the den, lion's den. Then you realize the lion's den, you get into the second lion's den. This one happens to many people. So therefore, we should be extremely careful. First mistake is okay. You have everybody will make mistake. But the second mistake, if you make it, is your problem. So we have to make sure that from the first mistake, we don't repeat the mistake in a second. And then you should, and it's not only that, maybe it's not that the other one is the lion's den. You are also the lion's den for the other person. We don't always put your finger to somebody else. You are also the lion's den for that person. So we should be very careful that you don't become a lion's den yourself, and you also don't enter the lion's den. In other words, one example that I give is that they don't be like a bee, not to disturb the flower, not the flower disturb you. The bee is to go there to suck the nectar. When you go there, land on the flower, if the flower moves, be careful, then you run away. Unless you have the power to make the flower stop moving. If you have the power, then make it, stop it moving. Whereas if you don't have the power, then fly. Don't stay there. Don't remain in the lion's den forever. This is one thing. Now, what about the children? This is the next question. So parents have a huge responsibility. It's not just the infatuation. It's not just the surface, the attraction. There's a huge responsibility attached to that with the children. Where the children is, let us not be selfish. We should not be selfish. You should think of the children. The child has a huge whole life, and you are damaging somebody else's life because of your being so irresponsible. We should be extremely careful to make sure that it happens. And people can make mistakes, but to repeat the mistake the next time is one thing. Then for the children, I would say that if somebody is from that background where the broken family, and then you're already now in your 20s, and then you keep ruminating over I have a very nasty father, nasty mother, broken family, I'm very unfortunate, I'm angry with my parents. So finally, as a child, mean now a grown-up man or woman, age like hitting age 20, so now your life is so precious. Don't waste your life ruminating over the past, what do you call it? Garbage. Your life is so beautiful. You have a whole beautiful life ahead. Why do you have to make this beautiful life mixed with the garbage of the past? Remove just forget the past garbage. You have a full life. For a small child, age 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We cannot say they stop the garbage, think of your life. No, the child is still still vulnerable. Whereas the moment you hit 20s, you're physically competent enough, mentally you are fresh. So you can start the fresh journey. And perhaps this journey can be extremely inspiring journey for you and for many others. Because from your experience, you say, okay, now past has passed. Why should I damage my today and tomorrow? Past should not define me now and define my future. In fact, I'll make this life. Future is same for you and for others. Somebody with extremely beautiful parents, they reaches age 20 years old. And you, a very difficult childhood, where the parents conflicts, fights, and so forth. And you already reached age 20. But from 20 onwards, you both have the same opportunity. So give this more. Why should you have to damage? The past is past. But why should you have to damage this, the beautiful future ahead? That is so important. And perhaps if you're able to manage this skillfully, how to manage skillfully? Yes, of course. Keep in mind that this is something which nobody can touch, my future. I have it in my hands. So you learn from other people how to make it beautiful. And many of the very successful people, they had very difficult childhood. And from there, they really shone. So with this, then you may write a book, your experience, which they be very successful in the people, meaning very beautiful childhood. They don't have this experience. You have the experience. You have amazing experience. And you get over this. So you write a book, it may become a bestseller. You may have led a very poor life, childhood life. Now you can be the bestseller. You can millionaire, billionaire. So what I'm saying, you can be incredibly great inspiration for so many people. So for those who are brought up in a very broken family, the moment you hit age 20, then you go out and build a career, and there are many good people. It's not that the whole world is dark. There are many good people around. You have to identify who are the good people. You have to identify. You get hold of one or two good people, that these people will help you to shape your life. And you have an incredibly beautiful life ahead. And with your past experience, you can become a very strong person who can really make it happen, the beauty of your life make it happen. So this is something I would share with the people, who are brought up in a broken family and who always ruminate over the past, the sad stories. I would say, no, don't waste your life like this. Don't let the past bad experience spoil your future. Your future is so beautiful. If you really want to hold a grudge, how to hold a grudge? Grudge means, why do you feel grudge? Grudge is to make sure that I'll teach you a lesson. I'll teach my past a lesson. How to teach a lesson? Not by damaging yourself. Let them feel envious of you. Let them feel envious of you. People who damaged you in the past, let them feel envious of you. How? Be successful. Be compassionate. Be smart. Let your life shine. And then they will be envious of you. They'll learn a lesson from you. Then they'll surrender to you. This is the best way how to retaliate. Not by, oh, you did this, what a damn, I'll give a damn to this person. This says you're actually giving a damn to yourself. So be smart.
Beautiful analogy, Ishna.
Thank you.
Best vengeance is to live your life happily.
Yes.
And then to transform your pain into inspiration to transform your mind as well.
Yes.
Very, very nice and very insightful. Kishla, I wanted to shift the conversation a little bit from family to global politics. It would be unfair because we always talk about dependent rising in the Buddhist philosophy. Everything is interconnected. This is very turbulent times, and there's a lot of conflict. We are witnessing human rights violations at very high levels. Even basic human rights like food has been denied. Food was weaponized in these conflicts. We have this very painful migrant issues going on globally. And you feel really helpless when you watch the news. You can't even speak up about it because you have repercussions if you do at some places and some positions that certain people hold. So how do we navigate this? We can't change the larger systems, but it's also dependent. So how do we navigate these powerful systems that we cannot challenge?
Okay, so we need to have a short-term plan, long-term plan. This is very important for anything. There should be a short-term plan and a long-term plan. For example, food. Today is where we'll get lunch. No short-term, long-term. Just make it very quick. If you want to enjoy the food, go to a good restaurant. And if you want to get a healthy food, go to a nice place which is, which gives you healthy food. And no need to think of long-term, short-term. But if you think about your health, overall health, then you have to think of, even with food, you have to think of a long-term, see the advice of dietitian and so forth. Likewise, for these global issues, where at the moment we see as well, we are handicapped, we don't have any power, we are powerless. So, and then sometimes when you speak up, then you'll be your life, there's a danger to life and so forth, the repercussions. So what should we do under such situation? So it's not that we are totally handicapped. We should think of long-term, short-term. So the short-term is always make sure that you are protected. You're protected. This is so important. If you're not protected, you cannot help others. So it doesn't mean that you can protect yourself 100%. For example, in Delhi, oh, please just stay yourself protected. Even the presidents, the prime minister, even they have to breathe the same air. Mm-hmm. They will breathe the air. Inside the house, they are the air purifier, but outside there's no air purifier. So they have to breathe the air. It's not that you can protect yourself 100%. And then to expect that is living in the illusion. So we should live in the reality. So we have to accept the reality. Try your best to protect yourself to the maximum. Only if you're protected, then with the compassion, you can think of protecting the others. So short term, make sure that you are protected. So you have to see how much power you have to change the situation or to contribute to change. How much power you have. If you have 20% power, don't try to exhibit 80%. If you exhibit 80%, you will die in the process. And then who will continue this journey? A good person Good person with the good person meaning person with a good intention, motivation to help to save the world, to save the humanity. So once you're gone, then the number decreases. So by default, the number of the bad people increases. So this is not wise. So whatever percentage you can contribute to the well-being of the humanity, to speak up for the world, for the community, against injustices, whatever required to be done, do it to that extent. Don't remain silent. Don't remain silent, which will be very practical. And think of sustainability, how to sustain this movement. Keep going like this, keep going to what percent. If you have the 80% power, use it 80%, be courageous. Why should we be, mute? Be courageous, but be wise. Make sure that sustainability, that is more important. Long term, all these problems are created because of the ignorance. So to remove this ignorance, the education is given. And modern education, it is very, very insufficient to remove this ignorance. Even though somebody has incredibly great knowledge of the modern education, but they can be very selfish and very ignorant. So therefore, the ignorant in ways that to create more problem rather than solve the problem, which means it's ignorance. So now for that matter, I would say that the whole world should actually, so in a metaphorical way, I'm saying the whole world should pray to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Amongst all these leaders, he's the one who's thinking of the whole world. Otherwise, we the Americans, we should be the best. So like this is the mindset of the world, unfortunately. So they say the education should be such, there should be the world should be a better place. We cannot say the world should be perfect. It's not possible, but the world should be a better place. So how to make the world a better place? We cannot make it just today. We should be very practical. Don't live in the illusion. Live in reality. So the future, how to change the future? Change the education system. So who's thinking about it? His Holiness the Dalai Lama is thinking about it. Talking about universal ethics. Universal ethics today having taken the shape of His Holiness's mission of the universal ethics, which everybody is entitled to practice, whether believer or non-believer, what gender, what ethnicity, what religion, you're expected to practice this for your own well-being. If this is how, if this becomes a part of the modern education curriculum, then everybody will have to study this. And invariably, we are being shaped by this. So we are all like a piece of clay. The clay, what this clay is going to be modeled into, given a shape, what kind of shape it is given, it entirely depends on the person who makes it. So that person, I want to make a demon's statue. Then we will turn into a demon statue. I will make this into Lord Jesus Christ. It'll become a beautiful Jesus Christ statue. So it's entirely into the person. The clay per se, that it has that capacity to become anything. So we're all like small children. We all like this clay. So the education system is like the one who gives the shape to this. And the education system is incomplete. Then the clay will become a very strange thing. Rather than the decoration piece, it'll become extra garbage. So whereas the education system gives a beautiful shape of flower, just rice, or Lord Ram, or say whatever Lord Mahavir or Guru Nanak and so forth, it becomes so beautiful. It's like sacred. It becomes sacred. So this is what the world is going to become. The future leaders will all become like this. The sacred beings everywhere. Where there's one problem there, all the leaders will come to protect. The world is going to be very beautiful. It's going to be divine. So same world can be divine if the people in the world, they're more matured. And same world can be demonic if the people are immature, like small children. So this is for long term. So we need to just see how to encourage each other that there's a program. There's a program known as Universal Ethics Program. We need to see how to promote this everywhere. So this is our long-term plan that each one can contribute. And this is also what I said, that you have your own circle who are connected with politicians, who connected with bureaucrats, who connected with CEOs of the corporate world, who are the principals, who are the teachers, who are the painters, who are the musicians, who are the actors. So you have some connection. Make sure that you spread this word to these people. These people, they have their own circle and inspire people, inspire others. This is the creating a wave of the goodness, long-term plan. Thank you.
Thanks, Kishla. Very practical advice. Like if you have 80% capacity, speak up and have a long-term plan on the framework of universal ethics. Completely agree with you. Kishla, there are so many online questions today. And if it's okay, can we take some questions?
Sure.
There are some follow-ups from what we discussed yesterday and today as well. So somebody has a question on, Dear Kishla, am I correct in understanding that this is not from today's, that renunciation means not immersing oneself completely in worldly affairs and not having passionate attachment to them? That's the question.
Okay. So this is a good question. I'm so glad that this question is brought up here. Although this is more the avenue for secular the talk, but I'm glad that this is brought up. Many people have confusion and they got a wrong impression of the concept of renunciation. So people say that, oh, Buddhism is a self-denial religion. And it always talks about suffering all the time. Buddha talks about suffering all the time. This is total naivety. Total naivety. This is a lack of the proper information. So the Buddha taught, yes, suffering is taught. It is like going to a hospital. When you go to hospital, the doctor will not talk about healing. The doctor will say that first you do this test to see if you have this problem, that problem. So this is a very practical approach. So identify the suffering, then identify the root of suffering, and then identify the ways to cut this root, and identify how to get to the freedom. So the Buddha taught that transcending sorrow is absolute peace. The Buddha taught absolute peace, how to attain the absolute peace. All the peace that we are talking about at the moment is all temporary peace, but Buddha is teaching us how to get the ultimate peace. So this is something that we need to know. On that basis, when you talk about the renunciation, the renunciation is to be understood as the renouncing your miseries, not renouncing your happiness. Renounce your miseries. And to renounce the miseries, we need to learn how to renounce the causes of the miseries. For example, if the metaphor of a burning gold, a gold which is in fire, burning, red hot burning gold, and you hold it saying that this is gold, saying this is gold, it burns your hands. If you throw, you're throwing gold. But it burns your hand is fire. You throw the fire, you're throwing the gold. What should you do? You require the intelligence to put this thing. Don't throw this, don't keep holding it, put it in the cold water. Let the fire be extinguished and keep the gold. That is what we should be doing. So with this in mind, for example, let's say that the passion in life. What passion? Drink, pubs, or relationships, so forth, and not checking the deeper consequences, not knowing the other person so well, then end up into this. This is like into the lion's den. A lion's den with a beautiful flower. Lion will not say, I'm lying. Will say that I'm a very beautiful pigeon, very nice pigeon, beautiful flower. And then the moment you enter, then you see there's the line there. You'll see that. So what I'm saying is that renunciation is to renounce the miseries, and to renounce the miseries, you have to renounce the causes of the miseries, which can come with the facade of happiness. It's actually a misery. So you have to identify that. And smart people, they identify that, oh, there's a lion den. Although there's a flower there, no, I should run away. So this is how we have to approach. So with this in mind, renunciation is to renounce miseries. And to renounce miseries, we need to renounce the causes of the miseries. Sometimes causes of miseries can appear in the facade of happiness. For example, like drinking. For example, like, unhealthy relationships. And then you end up into miseries, whole lifelong miseries. This is because of our failure to see the failure to see the misery as misery. Instead, we see the miseries as happiness. Cause of the miseries as there's also happiness. There's ignorance. So we should be well informed. In other words, each one of us, we have incredible treasure of happiness. Real treasure is not outside. Real treasure happens inside, and discover that. Meanwhile, we have to depend on external factors, food, house, and so forth. In some cases, relationship, and so forth. So when they have their own limitations. For example, food, they have own limitations. The cholesterol, weight gain, all these things come from there, and the stomach problem, all these things come from there. Cancer come from there. It's not 100% perfect. So in the house can collapse, and you can be killed by the house. A car can you can die in an accident. And like relationships, whole lifelong problem can happen because of that. So, but it doesn't mean that you just renounce all these things, renounce food, renounce house, renounce car. No. Then you will die even before that. So we have to depend on these, but with the knowledge, with the acknowledgement that these are not the perfect sources of happiness. So meanwhile, these should be a journey. To depend on these should be a journey for you to explore the real treasure inside, real ultimate happiness treasure inside. That is a job. So use the external factors in the process so that you are not thrown into excessive pain, and meanwhile work to uncover the hidden treasure inside for the ultimate happiness.
Gishla, we have a follow-up question from yesterday's discussion that we talked about purpose that was connected to loneliness.
Yes.
That's from Lakshla. Gishla, reflecting on yesterday's guidance, you said purpose becomes clearer when we identify our strengths, and that building wise or virtuous strengths towards that purpose creates stable well-being. So how do I accurately tell whether I am moving towards true purpose and virtue strength, or just just chasing some comfort or dopamine? So what are the signs of each, and what's the correction the moment I notice I am off track?
Okay, this is a very practical question. Thank you so much. And okay, let's say that whether I'm in the proper track or not in the proper track, let's say that there's what is known as the like a sleeping pill. There's also known as the compassion pill. So where you take but some people say, but what is that English? I don't know the proper technical term. The LCD, or what is that? LSD? LSD or D?
D.
LSD. Okay. So you take this pill, LSD, and then you become very compassionate. And you feel the compassion is amazing. Okay. So is this a real compassion, or is the flow of the dopamine? Right? This question. So when you take this, and the effect of this subsides, compassion continues, you're on the proper track. Effect of this subside, and you become the angry person, which means that was a fake compassion. This is the wrong track. Coming in the facade of a good compassion, good track, but it's the wrong track. What is the real, say, the proper track that you are actually going the correct direction, that you have found your strength? Is that where you engage in something and your joy keeps increasing and less dependency on external factors, and your joy keeps increasing. If this happens, whatever you are doing that is responsible for your joy to keep increasing and dependence on external factors become less, you are in the best of the track towards your identifying the true hidden treasure within you. Everyone has a hidden treasure. And for some people, like playing football, and from there can take you to the hidden treasure. For some people with the music, and music, just play music, low quality music, and you think that I'm the best musician, I'm the Mozart. This is an illusion. Even with the music, be disciplined, have a discipline to make sure that you keep improving. Even as a chef, oh, I know how to make chow mein, I know how to make momo, I know how to make rice and dal. This is not sufficient. And people praise me for me being a good cook. Don't be deceived by the false praises. So the thing is that whatever qualities that you have to know your qualities. The great Sakya master, Sakya Pandita, he said that the truly evolved beings are those people who know one's own strength and one's own weaknesses, and who do not get swayed by somebody praising you, who do not get demoralized, somebody deprecating you. This is a mark of your strength, mark of your nobility. So, this being the case, people have different skills. For example, in the past, there are some saints who are said to be like what in the Asian culture, goldsmith is considered as very lowly, work. But there are some people as a goldsmith, and then thinking about the deeper and deeper reality, they become enlightened. Some people as a washer, as a public clothes washer, laundry expert, laundry people. In the process, they become enlightened. Some people, they are the tailors, stitching. Okay, it's the needle, but depends on needle, the thread, and the cloth, my hand, and the air I'm breathing. So, but depends on all the factors, then this phenomenon of stitching happens. Objectively, there's nothing independently real. And then they become realized beings. So any expertise or any discipline that you're following, you do it very seriously to make sure to give a quality to that of the five. We talk about the five, the ever-present mental factors, say the contact, attention, discrimination. So this third one, discrimination, the sharpness of this discrimination. Discrimination doesn't mean in negative sense. Discrimination means the ability to discern things in an extremely sharp way. So that will make sure that you are actually going closer towards your inner wealth of the ultimate happiness. So this is, if one can do that, then you are actually going the proper track to know that we're all dependent on each other. So like stitching, it depends on this phenomena of the two pieces into part, and then they come together because the stitching is possible with multiple factors involved. So dependent origination. And with this, then you see that I'm not an independent person. I'm dependent on others. So when I damage others, then they are no more there. Then I become vulnerable. So I should protect them. So for this, the compassion arises by understanding having the wisdom of interdependency. Your compassion grows, and then you go deeper into your awakening the hidden passion inside. So this is the mark of where taking aside, keeping the LSD
Mhm.
aside, and your happiness keeps increasing. That's the mark of you being on the proper track.
Thank you, Gishla. With that wonderful insight, although I would have loved to take more questions, we have come to the end of the session. I would have been happy to go on and on, like all of you here. But before I give the floor to Dipeshla, I just want to thank Gishla again for all the insights and guidance and reflections. I hope it helped all of you. It helped me a great deal, so I hope it's the same for all of you. I also want to thank the people behind the scenes. Alexei, who is the translator for Russian translators, thank you so much. Lamola for Ladakhi translators, and Christophe, who is the French translator. Thank you so much, and the whole of Tibet House here. And I will now hand it over to Dipeshla for the further announcements.
Okay. Thank you so much, Rebecca. First of all, I would like to thank Geshla for these 2 days and all the back-end team, like Rebecca said, the interpreters, Christopher, Alexila, Lamula, and then, the IT team, Stanzin Funchukla is managing the Ladakhi live stream, Tibet House internal team. And of course, we cannot forget Rebecca. When I first called her, she had not fully recovered from a acute bronchitis. So she showed great enthusiasm that she would be happy to anchor. But at the same time, she was very worried about her bronchitis, and yet she said yes to it. So, despite her very, very busy schedule, very hectic work style, she, and I know Rebecca Love for many, many years, our earlier teacher, before we started meeting in Tibet House, Kabirji from Tushita, Delhi. He jokingly calls Rebecca a corporate slave, right, Rebecca? So, so anyway, so she's not, but he's very, very kind-hearted. So, I mean, why I was saying that she's a very, very hectic work schedule, and yet she agreed. That was the idea. So, thank you so much, Rebecca. And for people, who joined today, and if I just sum up, the 2 days were quite very meaningful question, like Geshla also mentioned during the session about happiness, compassion, uh, and then compassion which is skillful, which will not lead us to burnouts, on loneliness, peer pressure, family conflicts, separations, which is so common, like divorces in today's society, meditation, and many, many other questions we covered, and many questions, like Rebecca said, we could not cover because lack of time. So anybody who would like to catch up with the 2 sessions, I'm just going to put in the chat on our website, tibethouse.in/icon. We call the Inspiring Conversation series as a short form icon, ICON. And so you can see the links for series 2, which was the current series, and series 1 links are also available, right? So you can basically catch up from there. And now another very important agenda for today's session is opening of registration for Nalanda Diploma Course Batch 6, or in short, we call NDC 6. I did mention yesterday in the introduction that in 2016 December, we were extremely lucky that His Holiness blessed the first batch of Nalanda Masters course. That event took place in Thiagraj Stadium in front of perhaps close to 10,000 people. So it was a very big event, 50 years of celebration of Tibet House and Mensi Khang together, they organized that event. And later on, what happened was, as we went along, we would often get very late registrations, and it was quite difficult for all of us at the House. And then we would often run to Gishla, such and such an email has come, what should we do? What should we do? So it became quite difficult. And then we came up with the idea of a shorter course, which is Nalanda Diploma course. And we requested Venerable Geshla, who very, very kindly again agreed despite his hectic schedule, and that was batch 1, which was started in 2018. So now, in come fast forward to 2016, we are in 2026. This is the sixth batch. We've successfully completed Nalanda Diploma course, 5 batches. And besides that, we also have a shorter course called Nalanda Certificate course, which is even shorter. And then we have even one shorter course that we introduced last year, which is called Nalanda Introductory course, which is just for a few weeks. That we've done only 1 batch. So I'll just take a few minutes for Nalanda Diploma courses. Usually we design them to be calendar months, 14 months. And in those 14 months, we usually have 2 breaks, winter break and summer break. So, the whole idea is that for the working people, busy life people, family responsibility, other responsibility, the whole design of the course is just 2 classes per week. And like I said, many breaks in between. So the workload is manageable. And during this icon series, Venerable Geshe-la spoke many, many times about skillful compassion, being wise. And in just the last question, Geshe-la touched about, how there's nothing which exists objectively. And Geshe-la also spoke about, the 5 omnipresent mental factors from Buddhist psychology. So these are quite technical presentations, but they are extremely useful. There are many people here who are from NMC and various batches, and they can vouch for it that these teachings are just not purely philosophy or theoretical. You can take into your life and apply them, right? So for that, and Geshe-la also emphasized on uh, correct information, complete and systematic information. So that is possible only for us through these courses, because in a 2-day session like Icon 2, it's not possible for Venerable Geshe-la to go deeper into these technicalities and give a picture which is, there are so many nuances. So such courses will allow you and your friends and family, whoever is interested, to get into that area. Of course, nobody can force you. Our job is to give you the information, and then we request you, specifically many students from the previous batches, to spread the information in your friends and family. So 14-month duration, the teachings will be given in this batch directly in English like previous batches. But this time, the number of languages where we would be able to offer simultaneous interpretation is quite many now. Russian, French, Ladakhi, what is happening in Icon 2 right now. Besides that, Hebrew, and also Chinese, the Mandarin, and French, of course, is being done here. Yes, those are the languages. I'm not missing any languages. Russian, French, Ladakhi, Hebrew, and Chinese. 2 hours classes per week, 2 classes, so about 4 hours per week. Optional group discussions is about 20 hours per month. And the fees is highly subsidized. And further scholarships are given to monastics, 100% to monastics. And this is all due to Geshe-la's kindness and wisdom, and 75% to students, and 50% to the previous participants of any Nalanda course if you've done it from Tibet House. So that's just a brief introduction about Nalanda Diploma course. More information, again, I'm going to put it in the chat, is available on our website, tibethouse.in/NDC. So now I would request Venerable Geshe-la to open the registration form, for English, French, Ladakhi, and Chinese. I think they are not ready. The team, they're setting up everything, and the Russians, they've opened already. English, French, Ladakhi, and Hebrew. These are the 4 languages. So I'd request one of the coordinators, one of the Karmalas, if you can kindly take up the laptop to Venerable Geshe-la, and he'll just open the registration form. Karmala, you have to ask Venerable Geshe-la too. Karmalas, if you can request Venerable Geshe-la. Yeah, okay. All right. So Gishla, for each language, we have a different form.
This is Hebrew. Ladaki, saved, done. This is French. Good, good, saved, done. Sorry. The Hebrew, English, any Mandarin here. Human. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. The
Yeah.
registration open.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gishla. Thank you. And then I think there is, Gishla, there is a souvenir for Rebecca. So can I request you to give a souvenir for Rebecca?
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oh,
Yes.
E.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Let's share the open.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today. And I apologize we could not take all your questions, but thank you for your participation for both the days. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kishana. Thank you, TP House. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Gishla. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Тукчечи, Гишала, Тукчечи. Всем спасибо. Всем организаторам спасибо. Всех
Thank you very
благодарю.
much. Thank you.
Спасибо.
Спасибо огромное.
Большая благодарность Тибетскому дому Гешала Ребеки, всем братьям и сестрам под Дхарме.